Hello, this is Principal Scott from Crossroads High School. Recently, we've been having some problems in our high school, especially in a co-taught classroom that's taught by Mary and Helen. You see, Mary has been our special education teacher for 5 years here at Crossroads, and she does an excellent job. But Helen this year, she's just new. They're having a hard time figuring it out this year. The situation has started when Helen and Mary don't have a proper co-teaching method. You see, as we discussed in class, co-teaching is not where the gen ed teacher creates all the plans and does all the teaching and leaves the special education teacher in the dark. It's also not when the special education teacher just pulls kids off to the side and talks to them during class. As we learned in slide 6 of the co-teaching PowerPoint. Another issue developing is that Jim O'Hara, one of our students here, is not performing well in the class. He's not getting the IEP accommodations that he needs in class, which is principle number 3 of IDEA, which is FAPE. To receive appropriate education, Jim must get his accommodations such as spell check and grammar guides, which he's not receiving currently. So let's hear from them now, our teachers now, to see how they feel about this situation. Helen, what do you think of your co-teacher?
Honestly, I kind of wish she would speak up a little bit more. I mean, we had this whole meeting at the beginning of the year, right? And I was kind of running the entire thing. She seemed to agree with me though, so I don't know, we seem to be having issues. I don't know about her teaching strategies. She's too soft on the kids. We're not here to form lasting relationships with them. We're here to teach them what they need to learn.
What do you think is the most effective way to teach the class?
We need to have high standards. Ultimately, that's the best way to make sure they're learning what they need to learn. Do the students necessarily like me right now? No. But do they come around in the end when they realize what I've done for them? Yes. Ultimately, we need to be testing them on what actually matters.
Do you see any students in your class struggling?
There are definitely students who struggle more than others. Mary, my co-teacher, thinks we should modify our assessments for them, but I kind of disagree with that. I mean, how are we truly going to know if they're learning these essential skills if we lower our standards for testing them? I know I have very high standards, and some people might criticize me for that, but it's always worked for me. So I really, in the end, I just want what's best for my kids.
Do you like your role within the classroom currently?
I do. I really do like my current role. I won't lie. I was a bit hesitant of this whole co-teaching method at first, but Mary has been very generous with me in handing over control in her classroom. I think we have a very strong one teach, one support method going on here. I present the content, Mary helps who's having trouble, and I think that's really what's best for our students and making sure they can perform well on our end of the year exam.
Thank you, Helen. That's all I need from you.
Thank you.
Welcome, Mary. How are you doing today?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm doing great. So, Mary, what do you think of your co-teacher?
I mean, Helen's a really accomplished teacher. She's a 20-year veteran. She has her strategies and she knows what works for her. Does she know what works for the kids? Not always, not all of the students, but she's accomplished in her own right. In my opinion, she's a little bit stubborn, a little bit hard-headed. One could say a witch, but then again, I was told if I don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, so yeah.
What do you think is the most effective way to teach the class?
Well, since this is a co-teaching classroom, I think the most effective way to co-teach would be to actually co-teach, where two teachers are working together as a team, not just one teacher teaching and then one standing in the background. We need to be working together, we need to be creating lessons and giving the lessons together and then working as a team, not just one teach, one support.
And do you see any students in your class struggling?
I definitely see a couple students struggling. I don't think Helen sees it, but I see them. There's some students that have an IEP or other disabilities where they physically and literally cannot keep up with her standards and her curriculum, her structure, and I see them. I specifically see Jim O'Hara. He has an IEP, he's struggling really hard, and I'm trying to help him, trying to accommodate for him, but Helen just does not see it.
Gotcha. And so do you like your role within the classroom currently?
I am not happy with my role in the classroom. I've been teaching here for 5 years. I know what co-teaching looks like. I'm really accomplished in it, and I'm an accomplished teacher, not just a special ed teacher that sits in the back of the room. I want to be involved with the lesson. I want to be with my kids and working with them, and right now, I just sit in the back room.
Well, thank you, Mary. You can go back to your classroom now. Hello there, Jim. How are you doing today?
Man, I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna get to play on Friday.
Don't worry, Jim. We're trying to fix that situation right now. Just to let you know you're not in any trouble. I just wanted to ask you some questions.
Yeah, what's up?
I was just wondering, how do you think you're doing in Mrs. Mary and Helen's class right now?
I don't think I'm doing good. I just feel like everyone around me is doing really good, and no matter how hard I try, I'm just always gonna be set up for failure.
I'm sorry to hear that, Jim. Is there anything you'd like your teachers to change in their classroom?
I don't like that Mrs. Williams always posts our scores on the board because everybody knows that it's me that's doing bad because I'm the only one struggling in the class. So when they look up and they see that 0, they know it's me. And I just wish that it was like last year where I was allowed to use spell check, and on the test I could just do a multiple choice selection when I was doing the spelling test.
That's helpful feedback. Thank you. And do you feel comfortable in the class?
No. I don't feel comfortable in the class. I just feel like everyone's making fun of me behind my back when I'm not around because I can't spell right. I just feel like Mrs. Williams wants me to fail and she doesn't want me to play football because I can't spell. I'm not going to be able to play on Friday because of that.
Well, we'll do our best to get everything worked out. Thank you, Jim, for coming in. You're allowed to go back to class. We'll get it all worked out.
Alright class, so I have just finished grading our second spelling quiz of the year, and as you can see, some of us, we're doing great, we're hitting our marks, and some of us need to be doing a little better. We're not quite where we need to be.
You dumb boy.
Alright, our third spelling quiz. Some of us still not doing so hot. Sorry.
That was his 5th temper tantrum today. We need to do something to help him.
That's not really our job, Mary. Our job here is to teach him, not to comfort him.
Jim is so stupid.
We need to do something, Helen.
Jim, what's wrong? I don't know. I keep failing my spelling test. I can't do good in Mrs. Williams' class. I'm not going to be able to play football anymore.
So you're not doing well in Miss Williams' class? What's wrong in that class? You not feel comfortable in there?
No, I keep getting 0 on everything, and everyone's making fun of me.
Well, let's see if we can change anything about that. Let's get you up, Jim. All right, here's your football. Head back into class. We'll get it taken care of. Welcome, Mary. Welcome, Helen. As you both know, we've been having some problems in your classroom with inclusion. Is there either of you have any initial thoughts on this?
Well, I think we should work more on co-teaching as a team. We could start team teaching in the lessons. During one lesson with the entire class, I could introduce material in the lesson, and then you, Helen, you could dive deeper into the specifics about the lesson, and I could demonstrate while you do that. And then at the end, we could both wrap up together.
I think I might be able to work with that, Mary. I feel though that I might be a little more comfortable if we started off with more of an alternate teaching method where you might work with a smaller group of students who need more attention and I can still handle the larger group.
I think that's a great first step to getting the class on track for success. We still need to discuss another issue that we've been having, making sure everyone's included in the classroom. Do either of you have any ideas on what I'm talking about and how to pull this off?
I think so. I think when we focus on Jim O'Hare specifically, we need to make sure that his IEP is met and that he's getting his accommodations. But we can't put him in a small group in the alternate teaching like you suggested every time. We need to keep him in the least restrictive environment. We could possibly accommodate Jim by presenting his spelling test in another format.
I see where you're coming from. I really do. But Jim still needs to learn his spelling skills. And if we modify his assessments, I mean, we might have to modify everyone else's assessments. Like, everyone's not they're not being held to the same standards. I mean, he needs these skills in life. How is he going to succeed if he can't spell?
Okay, Helen, it is in his IEP, which we are legally required to follow, that he gets spell check accommodations, which we have to give to him. And with these IEP accommodations, he is not required, legally not required, to complete written spelling tests.
Mary is correct. We must give Jim the accommodations in his IEP. From now on, I want you to start giving him these accommodations in your classroom.
I understand. I will do my best to accommodate Jim in the future.
Thank you both for coming. I think that was a very productive meeting for all three of us. And I'm glad to know that the future of Crossroads High School lies in great hands.